My name is James Parker. I work for Proforest and I'm based in the Proforest African Regional Office. My presentation will focus on opportunities for carbon market and regenerative cocoa supply chains, and I'm using the case of the Ghana Cocoa REDD Plus program. Next slide, please. A bit about Proforest. Proforest is a global organization which is locally led with a shared mission of agriculture and forestry production and sourcing, delivering positive outcomes for people, climate, and nature. We work across the globe. We have offices in North America, South America, Africa, Europe, and Southeast Asia. We work basically to support collaboration between companies and among key actors, and also support responsible sourcing and responsible production, and also implement landscape initiative. We work with a number of commodities, but the key ones are cocoa, soy, oil palm, rubber, beef, timber, coconut, and cashew. Next slide. So my presentation will focus on the case of the Ghana Cocoa REDD Plus program, looking at opportunities for carbon market and regenerative cocoa supply chain, especially for smallholder farmers. So Ghana is one of the countries where we have high deforestation rates, about more than 3.2 rates per annum. And as part of activity to address this, the Ghana REDD Plus program is focusing on 2 zones. The countries have been zoned into 4 zones. We have the coastal mangrove area, we have the cocoa forest area, and then we have the share landscape, and then the mountain area. This presentation is focused on the cocoa forest landscape, which is about 5.6 million hectares. The aim is to reduce carbon emissions resulting from cocoa expansion. One of the key drivers of deforestation in Ghana is cocoa expansion, contributing to about 27% of deforestation in Ghana. So the strategy is to use cocoa to bring back the forest or stop deforestation. This program is looking at promoting climate smart cocoa production, that is regen ag and dynamic agroforestry, and then also increase cocoa yield in the rural areas, and then improving livelihoods and economy. So the landscape is 5.6 million hectares, as I said, and we have identified 6 main areas where we call the hotspot intervention areas, and which we also call the landscapes. And Proforest is working in one of the landscapes. I'll talk about it. But these are the partners who are working across this 5.6 million hectares area. So Proforest is working in one of the landscapes called the Asunafo-Asutifi landscape, which is about 383,000 hectares with a population of about 400,000 people. And this landscape is a main cocoa producing area. 10% of the Ghana cocoa output are coming from this landscape. And then the landscape also have a number of protected areas. About 30% of the land is covered with protected areas. This landscape has the potential to produce about 1,000 kilograms of cocoa per hectare. Currently, it is just doing about 400 kilograms per hectare. So the target of this program is to produce a total of about 295 million tons of carbon emission reduction, to reduce carbon emission to that over 20 years period, invest about $2 million in the cocoa industry, and then improve cocoa productivity to between 600 and 800 kilograms per hectare. Like I said, this landscape we are working has the potential to produce more than that, to increase cocoa production to this through climate smart agriculture practices, regen ag, and dynamic agroforestry. And then also produce sustainable cocoa beans to support private sector no deforestation supply chain commitments. And then sign emission reduction program agreement with the World Bank Carbon Fund. The potential benefit that we are looking at from the carbon benefit, which is performance-based incentive payment, input packages for cocoa farmers, community development project, logistics for law enforcement and monitoring, and then also support implementation and monitoring of safeguards. The non-carbon benefits that this program is targeting is increase in cocoa yield, as I've said, and then also sale of cocoa beans at a premium price. So climate smart cocoa beans at a premium price, and also improve tree land tenure. This is very important because tree and land tenure are one of the key drivers of deforestation within this landscape, and also access to financial credit, and then also diversifying income. Now, these are some of the outcomes. In fact, this program started in 2019. It was launched by the president of Ghana in October 2019, although the program was developed in 2016 and launched in 2018. The next year, 2019, Ghana signed the EPR agreement with the World Bank Fund, and the agreement covers 7 years of implementation of the Ghana Cocoa Red Plus program between 2019 to 2025, with an estimated income of $50 million from 10 million carbon emission reduction. So it's performance-based. Once we are able to do that, meet this target, we get funding from the World Bank to the tune of 50 million USD. So we are implementing this program using this governance structure. At the landscape level, we have what we call the CREMA, Community Resource Management Area, which is a resource management area where there is a governance structure made up of smallholder cocoa farmers, landowners, and also communities. So the delineation of the area is governed by land ownership, and they form the CREMA, which is the Community Resource Management Area. At the community level, we have what we call the Community Forest Management Committees. So implementation of this activity takes place at the community level, at the Community Forest Management Committee level. So a cluster of communities comes together to form the CREMA. And then in this landscape, we have 4 districts. So at the district level, we have what we call the sub-HIA, Sub-High Forest Impact Committee. And then at the landscape level, we have the HIA Management Board. We are working for cocoa farmers group with a total population of 20,000 farmers. And then also we have traditional authorities and then landscape communities. And these are the farmers who are implementing dynamic agroforestry. Region Ag has just started because in the cocoa sector in Ghana, it's well controlled. Before any practices is introduced, it must be checked and approved by the Cocoa Health Extension Division. And they work in close collaboration with the Cocoa Research Institute. So there's a number of models on Region Ag that is being piloted. Proforest will start implementing some of them possibly this year. But currently, dynamic cocoa agroforestry is what is being implemented there. And then also restoration of degraded areas, which is carried out by communities and the farmer groups. And there is a kind of different sharing mechanism on restoration within protected areas. And then we are also doing restoration using the dynamic agroforestry in the cocoa farms. We are also addressing issues including child labor, and then also linking farmers to sustainable markets. So fair trade is there. There are also certification markets, which is linked to organic cocoa farming. And then we have also other company sustainability activities ongoing, like the Mondelez, the Tutons are also ongoing there. So basically, this is the activities we are implementing. The previous slide that we skipped looks at the performance indicators. So we have the social one, and then, yeah, good, very good. We have the social performance indicators, and then we have the emission reduction indicators. So for each of the 6 landscapes, these are the indicators that is used for giving carbon benefits. So whether the farmers there are registered, are in groups, are organized, you get there's a weighted point that you get. And then if there's a consortium between the landscape governance structure and then also the consortium that is coming to implement or pumping investment over there, if there's a letter of agreement or MOU, you have a point. And then if traditional authorities who are landowners are participating, there must be a verification that they are part of the governance structure. And also, you also get a point. And then if you have a management plan, currently, it is only this landscape we are working with that has a management plan. The other 6 are developing management plans. And then also adoption of climate smart agriculture practices. That is the dynamic agroforestry and then Region Act. So that one is there. And then there is the emission reduction indicators. So these are the indicators that are used in payment of a fund from carbon fund to the community. So let's go to the sharing mechanism. There is a very transparent sharing mechanism. When the money comes, it hits into the World Bank Carbon Fund at the Ministry of Finance, and then it is shared 4% for fixed costs, then 69% goes into the landscape, and then 27% goes to the government. So the government, when we talk about government, we're talking about the Forestry Commission, where we have the Directorate of Climate Change, and they are monitoring or coordinating day-to-day activities in these 6 landscapes. And then we have the Cocoa Board, we have the MMD, which is the local government structure. And then the 69% goes into the landscape. So the farmer groups, the traditional authorities have their share, and then the HIA or the landscape communities also get a share. This sharing mechanism is very transparent, and there's representative from each stakeholder group participating in the sharing mechanism. These are the benefits that has come in. A total of 37.5 million USD has been paid from the carbon fund, and out of this money, 19.5 have been shared. So the remaining has not been shared, has been shared. So the landscape we are working, which is the Asunafo-Asutifi, has received a total of about 4.5 million USD, which is about 23%. So that landscape, in terms of maturity, is a bit higher. Yeah. And then cocoa production has also increased, according to the World Bank, which is monitoring. There's independent monitor. So cocoa production has increased from 400 kilograms per hectare to 600 kilograms per hectare since 2019, when this program was launched. Now, all the cocoa farms in the landscape have their polygons mapped. And this is very important because of European deforestation regulation that is coming up. And then the Cocoa Board is also working with Vera to develop and pilot a landscape standard for cocoa, which will enable some kind of certification. And then the cocoa farmers will get premium when those beans are sold. Because they are doing more, when we're implementing dynamic agroforestry, the space for cocoa is limited, so you can't plant the number of cocoa. So these are some of the incentives that is being developed, which will be given to the cocoa farmers to continue with this long-term initiative. So the challenges with the implementation as follows. We have funding issues, funding to upscale interventions. Currently, our landscape we are working, we divided into 4. We are in the second district. We've done the first district, we are in the second district implementing. So the other 2 remaining districts that we need interventions. The cocoa companies who are producing, are giving a lot of funding, have shifted their attention to aligning their operations with the EUDR because it is coming up. The attention has shifted a bit, and hopefully we hope that the funding will flow. Functionality at all levels of governance is a challenge. We have the governance structure there. It is not matured. The farmer groups are well matured, but then the governance at the community level still needs some kind of maturity. And there are a bit of challenges, especially in capacity building, and all boils down to investment. Some farmers are fatigued with shifting from this certification to this, and so they are reluctant to change their attitude, especially changing from the old farming methods to the new farming methods. Especially some of them, those who have old cocoa farms, are reluctant that we cut the cocoa down and replant using the cocoa dynamic agroforestry. And even some of them who have disease farms are reluctant. So this is also a challenge. And then data sharing and management is also a challenge. We are working with different stakeholders. Everyone has his own way of data management. So bringing everything together is also a challenge. And then also coordination at the national level is also a challenge. A Forestry Commission, the REDD+ Secretariat is coordinating, and there's a need for a strong coordination at that level. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present. Thank you.